If you have a parent who constantly belittles you, manipulates you, or makes you feel like you are the problem, then this video is for you. This is because chances are that you're dealing with narcissistic parents. Basically, they operate with a control mindset. They're also super selfish and competitive, often seeing a child's individuality as a threat. This is because they're mostly focused on their own needs and interests. So when their child stands up for themselves or goes after their own goals, it feels like a challenge to their power and authority. Awareness of narcissistic behavior is really important, especially if you grew up in a household with a narcissistic parent. The impact can be really strong and stick with you for a long time. Spotting these traits can help lessen the long-lasting effects of their behavior. Simply put, growing up with narcissists can be challenging, not to mention damaging. It can make you feel trapped, under their control, and like you're never good enough. As a result, it can leave you feeling confused, hurt, and constantly seeking their validation. Unfortunately, that rarely happens. The good news? We're here to help you make sense of it all. We want to empower you by giving you the tool to identify if you're really dealing with narcissistic parents. This way, you can start to heal and move on from the toxic relationship. And by tool, we're talking about our checklist to help you identify a narcissistic parent. Number 1, their public and private personas don't match. For narcissistic parents, image is everything. They want you to look good because it makes them look good, but behind closed doors, it's a whole different story. They may be cruel, manipulative, and emotionally abusive, which are known traits of narcissists. There's a big gap between how they act in public and how they really are at home. Number 2, they are extremely moody. Narcissistic parents can be really moody and get upset over the smallest things, such as when you show a bit of independence. This unpredictability of their mood leaves you wondering, what did I say to set them off? What did I do? Many kids growing up like this feel like they're always walking on eggshells at home, which is pretty unsettling. Speaking of being moody, number 3, they express their irrational anger harshly. When a narcissistic parent gets angry at their child, they often react by being harsh or worse, demeaning. Instead of thinking, I need to redirect your behavior, they go straight to character assassination. What does that mean? Well, their anger usually comes with blame, shame, and guilt trips. You might hear things like, you're upset about that? I'll give you something to really complain about, or I'll give you something to cry about. Their anger is irrational, erratic, and condescending. Sometimes it's expressed through outright aggression, and other times it's more passive-aggressive. This leads us to number 4. They show passive-aggressive behavior. Narcissistic parents can be a real handful with their passive-aggressive behaviors. By this, we mean they often fail to keep promises, forget important things, and make commitments they never follow through on. Basically, you can't rely on their word. Just because they say something doesn't mean it'll actually happen. This kind of inconsistency can be really tough on kids, leaving them with false hopes. Number 5. They give their child the silent treatment. When a child doesn't meet expectations, you might see the narcissistic parent stonewall, give the silent treatment, or pull back from showing affection. This withdrawal can cause the child to be confused about why it's happening. It can also lead to an emotionally distressing environment for them, leading to feelings of inadequacy and fear of rejection. Number 6. They leave no room for discussion. Narcissistic parents usually take over conversations with commands instead of having real discussions, especially when there's a disagreement or conflict with the child. Basically, they go for a just listen and let me tell you how things should be attitude. To them, only they have room to talk, and your only role is to listen to what they say and obey. By the way, make sure to subscribe if you've learned something new today. Number 7. They use rewards and punishments as manipulation tools. When parents want to teach their kids something, they might say, here's the reward you'll get, or this is the consequence you might face, right? Well, narcissistic parents are different. They take this to the extreme. For instance, they use a threatening tone like, you'll suffer B if you don't do A, or if you do this, I'll give you that. They often make these statements sound like an enticing sales pitch. But if you look closely, you'll see that their statements are strongly implying, one way or another, you'll end up doing what I want. For them, this is not about teaching. It's about using manipulative rewards and punishments to stay in control. Number 8. They never apologize but expect their child to do so. A narcissistic parent often demands apologies from their child, but hardly ever offers one themselves. They brush off your hurt feelings, but expect you to recognize theirs. Even if something is clearly their fault and you're the victim in the scenario, you'll never hear them say sorry to you. This is their way of keeping the power imbalance in place and making sure you're under their control. Number 9, they have a different definition of discipline. Do you know what discipline really means? It's just about teaching. But when a narcissistic parent disciplines, there's no real teaching going on. It's more about breaking the person into submission. Their version of discipline isn't the real deal. If the child learns anything from this, it's to hide their true self. They keep secrets because they think, if I show my parents who I really am, it won't end well for me. Number 10, they don't show up when their child needs them. A narcissistic parent often isn't there for their child, either physically or emotionally when it matters. For example, when a kid is going through a tough time, don't expect their narcissistic parent to step in and help. Instead, the kid has to handle things on their own. Over time, they might feel abandoned because they know their parents probably won't be there for them. This kind of neglect can seriously affect the child's well-being and sense of security. Number 11, they expect their child to be loyal and dutiful to them. Familial loyalty is definitely a great virtue to have. But a narcissistic parent? They demand it. They'll push a sense of duty and obligation, even using threats or trying to buy it. No matter how they do it, they expect absolute loyalty from their child, no questions asked. Number 12, they are more immature than their child. When a child is immature, a narcissistic parent often exhibits even greater immaturity. In other words, if the child yells, screams, or makes an unreasonable statement, the parent will respond similarly but in an exaggerated manner. If the child is moody, the parent becomes doubly moody. If the child is upset, the parent becomes even more distressed. This is how they think and operate. Number 13, they constantly criticize their child. Narcissistic parents often criticize their kids in different ways. This could be by giving unwanted advice, making the child second-guess themselves, or always seeming dissatisfied. Sometimes it's verbal abuse, like putting down the child's character. Their criticism is always there, lurking nearby, even if you can't always predict exactly when they'll say it to you. Number 14, they take signs of independence as an act of rebellion. A narcissistic parent often takes a child's individuality personally. They might say things like, "Why are you doing this? Don't you realize it'll make me look bad?" Basically, in their mind, it's all about them. Whatever you do is seen as a direct reflection of them. Number 15, they constantly remind their child who's in charge. The narcissistic parent often reminds their child about who's in charge, and they'll do this quite frequently. Basically, authority and dominance are super important to them. So their child has to keep that in mind and stay in line. And if you liked this video, then check out these related videos to see more. And make sure to subscribe and leave a comment saying, "I subscribed," and we will personally reply to your comment.